Hey folks, how's it going? This is Seagull here, back with another game update overview for The Sims 4. This one's for November 2019, releasing right before Discover University. There's a ton of bug fixes listed in the patch notes, which I'll link to in the video description below, but there is some new content as well. First up is UI scaling. Now in the new accessibility menu of game options, you can shrink or enlarge the size of the game's user interface to your liking so that it's easier to read. You can have it auto-scale with your computer's operating system, or scale it yourself with a slider. If you slide the handle into the red areas though, be cautious as the freezer bunny will appear, and you'll be told that your current scaling will cause the UI to overlap or bleed off the screen. Personally, I have it set to slightly larger than the default, just so that it is a little bit easier to read the text. But yeah, I think this is a really cool feature, and definitely will make the game more accessible to everybody. You may have noticed that the main menu also got an update. Instead of just pack renders being in the middle of the screen, there's also news about the game, as well as a featured community creation. I love that they're featuring community creations right on the main menu, as it shows more player appreciation, and I'm sure it'll push a lot more downloads and favorites for whoever is featured. What I don't like about this change though, is that now we're back to only the render for the latest pack showing up. I reached out to SimGuru Nick on Twitter to ask if this was a glitch, and he said no, that's fully intentional, but will pass on my feedback. Personally, I love setting the seasons render to show up whenever I load up my game, so I hope the ability to see all the pack renders will return. Next up is multi-story columns. Stairs got a big update in September, and now columns are the next build feature to get more flexibility. One thing you need to watch out for is the columns that have a little blue icon in the lower right corner and have max height restricted stated at the bottom of its object description. You can still stretch these columns higher, but not nearly as high as the ones without the icon. The reason the limitation was put in place for some of these columns is because the columns would not look as good if you stretched them out too far, which, yeah, with this particular one I can see why. Those square designs on this column, oh boy, if we were able to stretch them as high as the ones you'll see in a minute, it would look really bad. But let's show off a column that I can have without the max height being restricted. So, yep, and just keep pulling it up. And I have to zoom out the camera because you can go ridiculously high with this one. Just, oh my god. Yep, if you want to make a super tall building with super tall columns, yeah, there we go. The sky is almost literally the limit. That's how high you can go there. What's also pretty nifty is if you clone a column, it will retain its same height. And overall, I think this is a pretty nice feature, though I'm not really much of a builder myself, so I'm just looking forward to seeing what the professional builders will do with this new flexibility. We also got some Create a Sim items to go through, not too many, but this is our yearly updates to the holiday DLC, well, unless they do come out with more in December, because usually we do get that in December. I'm a bit surprised we're getting them now. But yeah, we got some new Create a Sim items for toddlers and children, and for once, not for adults. Wow. For once, I'm glad that we're not getting something, because, I mean, the adults get clothes all the time, and they did in previous holiday DLC updates, so it's nice to see the kids get some more attention. So what you're looking at now is the new stuff for toddlers. So the first one you saw is categorized by default for masculine, and then this one you're seeing here is for feminine. There's also a new pair of shoes, which I think are pretty cute. And overall, I think these are pretty solid additions to the toddler catalog, which unfortunately still isn't super expansive if you are on consoles or don't play with custom content. Moving on to the children, males got one new top, which is this jacket right here, and I absolutely love this. I think this is my favorite Create a Sim item in this update. Surprisingly, I think might like the plain swatches even more than the pattern ones. Even though I'm usually a sucker for patterns, but There's just something about these plain ones that really get me. I'm sure when I make children from now on, this is going to be one of the pieces that I fall back on when I'm deciding their cold weather wear. Before we go to the feminine one, I ended up going to the new boots that the children get, and I think these are a pretty solid addition as well. Another really great piece that I think I'll use very often under cold weather wear especially. And I think the swatches are pretty good, and they seem to match with that jacket. So then let's move on to the feminine top. So I think this looks really nice as well. And just like with the toddler items, I think they look great on both males and females regardless of whether the top is masculine or feminine. I like the style of this one, and yes, I love that green swatch especially. I think that looks great. For some reason, I just imagine this fitting very well into Brightchester. So that's it for the Create a Sim items this time. Overall, I think they're great additions to the catalog, and I don't think I have any complaints about them. So let's move on to another addition. So with Hip Hop, you may remember that used to be exclusive to the Get Famous expansion pack, but no longer. It's now available to all players, and they added a bunch of new songs. It's not all of these ones. The ones that came with Get Famous are still exclusive to Get Famous, but they did add some that are available to all players. If you want to know which ones were specifically included with this update, feel free to check out the patch notes, as it does list them. But that's not it. There are still a few things that for some reason were not mentioned in the patch notes. They seem to miss things a lot for some reason when they're writing those. But they did update the household split and merge in Manage Households. So you're seeing I am splitting up the household so that the teenager is moving out, and you can easily transfer funds. So I just transferred 2,000 simoleons right there, but you can do it the other way too, where I can transfer money back into the original household. So that's pretty nifty. They also added a new category to the build mode, which is transportation. You can see there's one with a bicycle there, because we are getting bicycles with Discover University. And of course, we already got the boat with Island Living. So that's pretty interesting. It does seem to strongly hint that we're going to get even more transportation options in the future. It would be weird, especially if they just never did cars now that this is there. You can even see when you just go into like the categories that there's also transportation there amongst plumbing, electronics, and all the other ones. And there's just show all. So I'm not sure. I have not played Discover University yet, so I don't know if there might be a couple of categories that appear, because it would be nice if there was a boat sort, and then a bike sort, and then hopefully a car sort in the future, and hot air balloons. Okay, let me stop myself. So another smaller update that they added in is an update to the assigning bed system. We've been able to do this for quite a while now, but now with double beds, you can specifically assign the left or right side. And when you hover over the bed, you will see a picture that shows you what Sims the bed is assigned to, which I think is pretty convenient and will really come in handy, especially if you do plan on getting Discover University and play in a dorm. Then you can just easily hover over a bed and see who that bed belongs to. And they also put in the computer security settings. So it does remind me a little bit of Little Miss Sam's personal objects mod that I showed off recently, though unfortunately this is just for computers, not for chairs or appliances or toilets or anything like that. But still, it's a step. So you can lock a computer for a sim. So yeah, I locked it for Breen here, who actually is going to be in my Supernatural University Let's Play. So yeah, I just have her play Blick Block for a little bit, just to show that she can still do it. But then when I switch over to her father, he can't do it. He can't use the computer, so I have to unlock it for him, and then you can see all those other options there with locking a computer for or locking for a specific sim. So that's pretty much it. Like I said earlier in the video, there are a ton of bug fixes which I recommend checking out, some that I've definitely been waiting for. I do have one annoyance with this update though, because I already knew that bikes were going to be exclusive to Discover University, not be included in this update, and I am a little annoyed that Shower Woohoo was not put into the update either, but I'm pretty sure that was kept exclusive to the Generations expansion in The Sims 3, so I guess it's not too much of a shocker they would pull that off again. But toilet stalls? Really? I think those should be given to everybody. That's such a basic object that you just put on any venues, so why keep that exclusive to university? It's not like toilet stalls are just exclusive to university in real life. How weird. Not to mention, those are usually available at launch anyways, so yeah, bad move, Maxis. I hope you do fix that in the future, because I think that's a mistake. But anyways, I'm gonna end off this video here, so feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think of this update? And be sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with my latest content from The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!